Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord. Praise ye the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us.
The only deliverance the other nations are going to get is deliverance right into slavery. They're going to be our slaves, thus saith the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Jeremiah 30:16 tells you every last one of the other nations, which are non-Israelites, are going into captivity. They're going into slavery underneath the Israelites when the Israelites go back into rulership. When is the Israelites going to go back into rulership? When the Lord comes. That's what he's coming to do. He's coming to set up the Israelites in rulership, beginning with King David. And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness. After he puts down the wicked. Who's the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power to victory and the dawn of a new era.
And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness. After he puts down the wicked. Who's the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord Yahweh. Praise ye the Lord.
Beginning with those top banking families, which happen to be so-called white people. We're talking about the Rothschilds, Rockefellers. We're talking about the DuPonts. We're talking about the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, and families like that. Okay, so when Yahushua comes back, he's going to take away their rulership, which they're enjoying right now. That's the long and short of it, of this ministry, man.
Thanks, James. I need 200 pounds by sunset.
Yes, sir. I'm on it, Master.
Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
Why did God make us Edomites?
I hate my life.
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. All right, and peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right, and what I want to get into today, is dealing with morning news and prophecy, dealing with war and AI. All right, because there's always a lot going on, and just to update on what's going on with the geopolitics, concerning war, and also, this devil just going full steam ahead, with setting up this AI infrastructure, all right, which plays a major part of the infrastructure of the CHIP, the MOTB, okay, because these devils, they're going, full steam ahead, all right, with their new world order, All right, you can tell, they got a steering wheel in the back of Donald Trump. All right, and they're driving, society to this new world order. And see, America is their biggest obstacle. With America being the most armed, all right, civilian population on the earth. Okay, so there's going to be, major events that happen, all right, that the devil is going to utilize to bring in, this new world order to get people to submit. So what we're seeing right now is the buildup of AI infrastructure, because when he causes, things to collapse, he wants to have the system already in place, to when he makes the CHIP mandate, that there's an infrastructure, all right, to regulate, and to have oversight of the device, okay. So we see that happening, and we see constant, conflicts or war and movements, by these nations that are going to lead into all-out war, okay, as the Bible says. Matter of fact, let's go here, get a couple precepts, and then I got a few videos I want to get into. All right, and we get this often because this is where we at. This is Ezekiel 12. All right, and 22 says, "Son of man, what is that proverb that you have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged and every vision faileth?" You see, because the Bible, it consists of a lot of prophecy, a lot of visions were given to our forefathers that they scribed down, and we have, a collection of these visions in the book, and there's a spirit of truth, all right, the Rakakwadash, that gives us the understanding of these things, to break these things down real time, and as we go into these things, and because we speak particular things and they don't happen immediately, people get numb, and the Lord wants people to be numb to prophecy, because the elect are going to be awakened, the elect are going to get it. You see, and the scripture says they're playing to the holy, so they're stumbling blocks into the wicked. Okay, so the elect is going to get it. All right, but the Lord wants the majority of Israel to be blinded, to the vision. And the scripture say, where there's no vision, the people perish. All right, because the only thing that gives us insight, of a world, of an age after the age of Esau is through prophecy, man. Okay, that's why people that know, certain truths, and these certain truthers like we've been going into lately, they don't got it. These certain alternative news and these certain people, because they're within the box of this reality. It's through prophecy where you get a picture, of what's to come. There's a belief on something beyond this, and it's through prophecy, man. Because prophecy goes heavy into judgment, and then it goes heavy into, all right, a world, an age after the judgment. You see? And it says, "Tell them therefore, thus said the Lord power, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision." And we seeing constant pieces being moved and things set in place. All right. For when that first domino fall, all of them are going to fall. And what we're seeing, is a gradual buildup to these things taking major effect in the earth, man. So let's go from there, and let's get this video here. So this is dealing with, all right, what you got going on with Venezuela, with America, pretty much, being aggressive, blowing up boats, which, it's a lot of political fluff, and just America, all right, flexing, on a weak nation, and ultimately strategic, because these nations know they're finna go to war. So what Venezuela is geographical, all right, was located, is strategical, for this third world war. And Venezuela has, those oil reserves. Okay, which that's strategic because war needs energy. Okay, and those nations in the east, they got the refineries, to turn Venezuelan oil, okay, into useful oil. America doesn't have it. Okay, so what America wants to do, they want to bogart, all right, Venezuela from, okay, these eastern, all right, nations, all right, China, Russia, and Iran. Okay, so what we're seeing is these nations jousting for strategic position. Okay, these superpowers of the earth are jousting for strategic position. All right, and their latest arena, you see, is Venezuela. Okay, but there's things happening to show you that the Lord has roused up these heathens because they're doing things that they wouldn't have done. All right, 2 decades ago. Okay, 3 decades ago. So it shows you the waning power of the U.S. and the growing power, okay, of these other superpowers, man. Okay, so let's play this.
Friends, colleagues, and listeners, we are witnessing a moment that will define the next chapter of global politics. The sight of Russian warships cutting through Caribbean waters is not just military theater. It is a declaration that the world order as we know it is cracking at its foundation. Picture this: sleek Russian destroyers, their radar arrays spinning against the tropical sky, while fighter jets streak overhead. This is not a coincidence. This is calculated intimidation on a scale we have not seen in decades. The question burning in every diplomatic corridor is simple yet terrifying. What happens when two nuclear superpowers decide the same backyard is not big enough for both of them? For over a century, the United States has treated Latin America as its strategic domain. Venezuela, sitting on the world's largest proven oil reserves, has always been the crown jewel in this game of regional dominance. But what makes this moment so dangerously different is that for the first time in generations, America is not playing chess alone. Washington's approach to Venezuela reads like a masterclass in modern warfare without bullets. It begins with sanctions, presented to the world as a moral crusade, but strip away the rhetoric and you see the real strategy: economic strangulation designed to bring a nation to its knees. This is not about numbers on a spreadsheet. We are talking about hospitals without medicine, families choosing between food and survival, and over 7 million people forced to flee their homes, creating the largest refugee crisis in the Western Hemisphere than ever faced in the West when the 1883 Gulf, behind closed doors, the strategy grows even more ruthless. Intelligence agencies funnel resources into opposition groups, not to strengthen democracy, but to manufacture the appearance of popular uprising. Social media campaigns spread disinformation, and propaganda networks amplify every grievance. The goal is simple: make the government appear so illegitimate that regime change seems inevitable. But Russia is not content to watch from the sidelines. Those warships sailing toward Venezuelan waters carry a message that echoes far beyond the Caribbean. The age of unchallenged American influence is over. Every Russian missile system deployed, every joint military exercise sends shockwaves through the Pentagon. suddenly a manageable regional problem has become a potential flashpoint for global conflict. Think about the psychology at play. For generations, American policymakers have operated under the assumption that the Western Hemisphere belongs to them. The Monroe Doctrine, updated for the modern era, declared that foreign powers have no business here. Russia's presence shatters that assumption completely. Now imagine you are in the Situation Room in Washington. Intelligence reports flood in about Russian submarines patrolling shipping lanes. Satellite images show advanced air defense systems being assembled near Caracas. Your military advisors ask uncomfortable questions. What if Venezuela is not as isolated as we thought?
And that's heavy, So America, is used to, doing coups and toppling these, Latin, American governments, Central South America. Okay. They're used to just going through there and having their way. Okay. But you have to remember, going back, to the 80s. Okay. You had their war, in Nicaragua. Okay. And ultimately, that was a Russian and American proxy war, okay, in Central America. So now, Russia has always, had some influence, but it was small, very small in Latin America. And it's been dominated by America, for these last 100 years, basically. But now, what you see when America is trying to go in, hard and heavy with Venezuela, Russia is directly showing up, not a proxy. They're directly showing up. Russia itself, Russian military itself, and they're assembling Russian military hardware in Caucasus. Okay, you see, you have to understand. So if they're assembling Russian military defenses, well, they're preparing, to resist any military, operation that America plans in Venezuela. Okay, and if they are giving them missile defense system, you best believe they got offensive missiles as well. Okay, so things are getting interesting, man. But Russia is you see Russian. It's a statement being made. You seeing Russian warships come through the Caribbean. Okay, you on your your 7-day, 7 nights cruise. Okay, and you see them Russian warships coming through on their way to Venezuela, man. It's a statement being made in the earth, man. Okay, that America can't do what it wants anymore. You see? And that's a spirit of prophecy that's rousing Russia up like that. Okay, what you gonna get it?
What if our threats are met with actual resistance from a nuclear-armed opponent? The stakes escalate by the hour. Both sides are now trapped in a logic of escalation that neither fully controls. Washington cannot back down without appearing weak to allies worldwide. Russia cannot withdraw without abandoning its credibility as a global power. And the Venezuelan government finds itself at the center of a geopolitical hurricane where every decision carries global implications. This is not just a dispute over Venezuelan politics. It is a fundamental test of whether the international system can accommodate multiple centers of power, or whether we are destined for a new Cold War, fought through proxy conflicts from Latin America to Eastern Europe.
So, and this is where the knowledge of prophecy comes into play. All right, because no, it's not going to be a Cold War. This war finna get hot. Okay, If a brother can post that too in Isaiah 9 and 5. All right. But see, he said that America, now that America has put themselves out there with Venezuela and Russia has responded, that puts both of them, in a position to where they can't withdraw because it will be weakness on the global stage for either party. And it's the Lord that's locking these nations in together because prophecy intertwines America and Russia, to have a face-off in the earth, man. Okay, now we're going to go into the actual flashpoint that's going to spark the war. But this is just adding more fuel to the fire, to that flashpoint, over there in the Middle East, which is going to actually spark this war. Okay, but you go here, it says, Proverbs 21:1 said, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, it said the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord as the rivers of water. He turned it, it whithersoever he will. So the Lord has these nations, ego tripping, and the Lord has these nations, moving how he wants them to move. He has these nations moving with boldness, as we gearing up for a war. So there's a sense of boldness on these nations, man. A lot of bold moves being made. A lot of defiance, to American hegemony. You see? Let's get this. And brother, if you can also put that Isaiah 49 and 15 to go with that one too. I believe it's the brother Matthew. Isaiah 9 and 5, it says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Okay? So this is leading to a hot war. Okay? This is leading to missile play and eventually nukes, man. Okay? Ain't no more Cold War. All right? Where they're just building up and stockpiling weaponry and fighting through proxies. No, they finna clash directly. Okay? They'll say the Lord, this is prophecy, man. So when you read this in the book of Isaiah, it's like Jeremiah 49 and 14. All right, it's the brother Matthew, ancients knew, why don't we? It says, I have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador, is sent unto the heathen, saying, gather you together and come against her and rise up to battle. This is the spirit of these nations. They're rising up to battle. Okay, what Russia is doing, this is a statement. So wherever America projects power, you have Russia right there, to counter it. Okay? And this is the Lord playing chess with these nations, man. And it's going to lead, to this third world war. You see? So let's go here. They'll have another video. All right. Let's get a couple precepts from the Blue Letter. Let's see. This Jeremiah 49 and 15. All right, from the brother Matthew, says, for lo, I will make thee small among the heathen, and despise, among men. All right, for lo, I will make thee small, insignificant among the heathen. This is speaking of Babylon. Okay, so the Lord is making Babylon insignificant, man. Okay, that reign America had of being, the solo, superpower in the earth, where their reign is over. Okay, the Lord is making America small amongst the heathen. Okay, let's go back. It said, for lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. America is despised, man. America, because this whole system is corrupt, man. But America is just a goddamn slime ball in the earth, man. The way that they move. Okay, and they're very treacherous. Okay, they're always, they can never keep it at home. You know, they're always at the center of all the conflicts and controversy that's in the earth. You know, any attempt of anyone else, all right, to do something that benefits them, America's in the midst of it, man, to sabotage it, man. So it's to the point where these nations, they despise this place, man. You know, so you go to you get brother got another one, Jeremiah 50:9. It says, "I will raise, okay, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken, okay, and their arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man, none shall return in vain." Okay. And see, you have, this assembly of nations, and it's beginning with, all right, Russia. Russia's at the forefront, the forefront. That's why it's known as what? The chief prince. Okay. Russia is known as what? The chief prince, man. Okay. So Russia, all right, is going to be at the forefront of the resistance, okay, of Babylon. And it's going to be the forefront of the missiles that's going to destroy this place, man, along with the assembly of nations with it, man. China, Iran, India, okay, North Korea. All right, you see? And it says they're going to be taken, all right, and the arrow shall be as a mighty expert, man. You see? Because the Lord has allowed, Russia to have highly advanced missiles, man. Okay? Because the scriptures say what? This is the Lord's armor. When it gets into these nukes and these weapons, this is the Lord's, all right, armor that he opening up. Okay? These weapons, okay, of destruction, man, these powerful, destructive weapons that these nations have, well, that's the Lord opening up his armor. When he opened up the minds, okay, of these scientists to tap into that, there was the Lord opening up his armor, all right, to fulfill his prophecy, man. Okay, and when America destroys, it's going to be missiles coming from everywhere. I'm willing, me speaking as a man, I can almost guarantee it's going to be surprising of what these nations got missile stage, all right, just for America, man. Okay, it's going to be missiles that come from everywhere to hit America, man. Okay, turn this place to a desert. Now, when you go here, all right, the fate, okay, of America being destroyed, Esau's kingdom being destroyed, always ends in a war, okay, with Russia, man, okay, which is gonna be the war which Yahweh Shai intervenes, okay, and that's really what's gonna end Esau's power, because these Russian or Edomites as well, you got a lot of Jacob over there, but it's an Edomite government. Okay, so Revelation 13:2 says, "And the beast which I saw, all right, like unto a leopard," going to the Greeks. Okay, the first Edomite superpower in the earth under Alexander, and his feet were like the feet of a bear. Okay, and the feet represents the end of a thing. So from Alexander, okay, and the beginning of Esau's, okay, dominance in the earth, well, the feet of that beast, all right, is a bear, which is Russia, which is going to be the end of this beast. Okay, now Russia is not a part of the beast system. Okay, it's an Edomite government that was created to oppose the beast system. Okay, and be against it in war. All right, it says in his mouth is the mouth of the lion, which represents, the financial branch of this beast. Okay, because all these Edomite governments are marching to the orders of the elites. Okay, out of London. Okay, it says, and the dragon gave him his power. Okay, and his seat and great authority. Okay, which this new beast system rules and authority of the Roman Empire. Okay, but it would be ended through this war with Russia. Okay, which is going to be a war, a world war. Okay, so you go to Revelation 20. All right, Revelation 27 says, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, okay, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them to battle, the number of whom is the sand of the sea. So Esau, he was allowed to come back in power. Satan shall be loosed. Okay, Shaitan, the adversary, speaking of Esau, who will come and rule in the spirit of Satan. He will be loosed. Okay, from out the Caucasus Mountain, up there in Georgia, Russia, the Ukraine area. All right, because he was pushed off to the side. Okay, he had no influence in the earth, but the Lord allowed him, to come back into power, raised him back up. Okay, and he will rule the world through deception, and it will lead to what? A battle with, Magog, which is Russia. That bear, which is going to be the end of this, man. So America and Russia are intertwined in prophecy, man. That's why they bump heads all throughout the earth, man. And they've been doing it for decades. Okay, but now you're seeing more direct in the action, okay, between America and Russia. You see, and as we go here to this next video, this is going to be the conflict that's going to really, pull, America and Russia into direct war. Okay. Let's go here. Play a little bit of this, because the small hats, they have their part to play in this. Okay. And they're the least of the flock that's going to drag, okay, America and Russia into direct conflict. Okay, so let's play this.
So now you have three things happening. You've got the Turks and the Saudis working with the Pakistanis that could go nuclear very quickly as powers with nuclear warheads on missiles. Then you have Iran, which has not been idle since the 12-day war. Many of the weaknesses that were detected during that 12-day period have been identified and repaired. Not to perfection, but certainly 80%, which means their integrated air defenses are now much, much better. Their relations with Russia and China have grown closer. And if you're Russia right now, in view of Mr. Trump's comments and statements, which were frankly outrageous, your incentive is not necessarily to compromise with anyone, but to tighten your relationship with China, India, and Iran. So all of these forces are operating against Mr. Netanyahu. We've seen Chinese exercises with the Egyptians. We now have the Turks and the Egyptians talking and cooperating. This, too, is very dangerous to Israel because they've always been able to sort of regard their Egyptian flank as relatively secure. It's not. Now, that's their fault because they intended to open the border and push all of the Palestinians into the Sinai Desert. And the Egyptians are not going to go along with that. So this whole 73 peace treaty has effectively begun to break down. But the fact that the Chinese are cooperating closely with the Egyptians suggests that it won't be long before state-of-the-art theater ballistic missiles, cruise missiles show up in Egypt that could be launched against Israel. So Israel sees itself as surrounded. So what do? You attack. And whom do you attack? You attack the biggest and most dangerous adversary. And for them, that's Iran.
And see what you see with these small hats, these devils, are just attacking every goddamn body. You see? They're just blowing up every goddamn thing over there. All right. And then, they run back, to their hole and say, look, we're the victim. We're surrounded by enemies. we got to fight our way out, and that's the narrative that they push to the earth. Okay, well, it's not working anymore. Like, no, you niggas are the problem, man. Okay, so as he said, Iran, these small hats, it's inevitable for them to go with Iran again. Okay, that 12-day war was just round one. All right, and they both went back to their corners. All right, and they know, all right, Iran knows a round two coming. Okay, and in one of these, rounds, it's gonna get to the point where America and Russia are gonna have to get involved. Okay, so let's play this more.
So I think a war with Iran is inevitable. The question is, who else becomes involved now, given all the relationships that I just described? We haven't even talked about the financial, economic implications, because the Chinese, as you know, do a land office business with the Saudis and the Emirates for oil and gas, as well as with the Iran. So the Chinese are now going to establish a quote-unquote multi-jurisdictional gold vault in Riyadh, along with another multi-jurisdictional gold vault in Hong Kong. Now, this is apart, separate from, and beyond the Shanghai Gold Exchange. What this is designed to facilitate is trade across international lines that is backed by gold. So if you're going to sell or buy something from the Saudis, let's say the Saudis are going to sell oil and gas to the Chinese, they're going to do that business in the yuan. And the yuan is immediately backed by gold. So within that warehouse of gold that sits in Riyadh, a certain amount of gold is then moved to the Saudi side of the warehouse when the deal occurs. And when the Saudis purchase state-of-the-art missiles, radars, and other equipment for the Chinese, gold is moved to the Chinese side of the warehouse. I mean, this is a very simplistic explanation, but that's where we're headed. It's all about de-dollarization. And de-dollarization is now proceeding at a horrendous rate. As I'm sure you saw on the X that I wrote, I tried to talk about that. And I was just listening earlier today to Alistair MacLeod in London talk about the dollar's purchasing power essentially dropping precipitously. All of these things suggest that if you are Netanyahu, it's time to act. And I think his visit to the United States next week is part of that. He's coming here to finalize the plans for that assault on Iran. He's got to do that sooner rather than later before he risks losing the unconditional support of Washington. And of course, we are pulling through the bankers in New York City and the City of London, Europeans into the fight on Israel's side with us. Now, what does that mean? Probably not a lot, but it suggests that what you mentioned up front about the Europeans is accurate. Now, the final piece of all of this is, how does this relate to Ukraine? And it's interesting that the same people who want to wage this war in the Middle East in Washington are the same people who want to keep the war going against Russia in Ukraine. And it appears that Donald Trump, within the space of the last, 6, 7, 8 months, has transformed into Joe Biden number 2.
Yeah.
And whatever he was elected to do has turned out to be irrelevant to what he does as president.
Yeah, man. So, all right, those small hats supposed to come talk, come to the White House. Netanyahu supposed to come to the White House next week. In that spirit, because, as we going into our Day of Atonement, these small hats are coming to talk to, Trump. All right, Netanyahu coming to talk to Trump. And like he said, this could be, the final, touches on, a strike on Iran, which is going to start another, war with Iran. Okay, that could be a possibility, so we'll watch, we'll see how it plays out. Okay, so, we're in some heavy times, man, spiritual times, prophetic times, man. Hey, we in this thing, man. Understand what we're a part of, man. All these things that we talk about, man, this is why we're here. Okay, a lot of things that that matter right now in this second not gonna matter. Okay, when these things start hitting hard and heavy, man. Okay, so we should gear our minds on, all right, like what's to come. Okay, we have to, change the way we think. Okay, the way we reason. You see, we going into a different phase, man. All right, so let's go from there. Got another video. Now this is dealing with AI. All right, and we've been, covering these things, but as more and more of news about it, happens, we'll go into it. So now this is dealing with AI, going into these data centers, and like I said, we covered these things and talked about them. All right, but it's just more, of the devil at work, man. Okay, so let's get this real quick, some precepts, and then we'll go into this video. It says, "Knowest thou this of old, since man was placed upon earth?" And this is from the brother GMS Swift Chariots 144. All right. It said that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite before a moment, man. Because this man is a damn hypocrite, man. Okay. This man is the problem of the earth, but he's able to sit in the seat of morality and blame everyone else. Okay. This is a very hypocritical kingdom, man. Okay. These people invest into nothing but wickedness. All right. They get to deem what's good and what's evil. This is a very hypocritical society, but this devil only has a moment to rule. He's in the last, all right, moment of his little small kingdom. Okay. His little short time to reign. Because every kingdom that ever ruled is short compared to the eternal kingdom of Israel that's to come. All right. So this little moment, this little glimpse in time that he was in power is coming to an end. Okay. Verse 6, it says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens and his head reaching unto the clouds. Okay. Because this devil, he's actually extended, his kingdom into the heavens, the atmosphere. Okay. No other heathen has came close to doing it. You see, he has a air force, a space force, satellites, space stations. Okay. So this devil, his excellency has reached unto the clouds, man. Okay. It said, yet. So even though the Lord has allowed this man to go farther than any other heathen, it's going to end in the same. Okay. He's going to be toppled. Okay. It said, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he, man? Okay. So this man's power is going to be erased out the earth like he was never in power. And then eventually he's going to be erased as a people like he was never a people, man. Okay. So let's go into this video here. All right. And it's dealing with these AI and data centers and, the response of people that's in this area because, they was in North Carolina heavy, even the brother, the elder brother, Hawaii out there in North Carolina, spoke about things happening around his place out there in North Carolina. All right. Because North Carolina is a hub, for data centers, Texas. And now they're going to the rural areas of Louisiana, and this is also a way to destroy, the rural life, okay, of American citizens as well, who are not, so much grid dependent. Well, they're coming out there and putting up these data centers, which is destroying the water. Okay. Destroying, it just causing pollution. All right. Bringing down, the power grid. So he's going to get into these things, and we'll expound from there. So let's let him play.
So, so many things suck about living in 2025. We keep saying that we're living through history and we don't want to be living through history. I would like to stop living through history. I wish we could have some calm and tranquil times.
It's over with, my boy. It only get worse from here. All right. Calm and tranquility is a thing of the past. Okay. Prophecy is settling in.
These incredibly hectic hectic times where everything's changing and everything's getting worse. But one of the things that we haven't focused on enough is the rise of artificial intelligence. Now, AI itself is a menace because, you know, you're going to have jobs are going to be taken away, and also people are literally being driven insane by AI. There's been a number of cases of like AI murderers already who are convinced that the AI wants them to murder, and people have been convinced that they're geniuses because the AI bullshit. And there's a lot of creepy shit going on. But one of the underreported aspects of just how much AI sucks is that you need these gigantic data centers in order to run AI. It requires a tremendous amount of energy to run AI supercomputers. And so we've covered on this channel in Memphis, Tennessee, you have the Grok AI Center.
Every month, this Airbnb pays me in semi-passive income. Now, here's the thing. I don't own it, and I don't.
And that it's basically like poisoned Memphis, Tennessee. And you already have countless examples of it's a majority minority community, largely a black community. And all these people are getting fucking poisoned because of the emissions from this massive Grok data center that just pollutes everything around it 24/7, right? And so, you know, we talked about that. More Perfect Union did a great piece on that. Well, now guess what? Take a look at this. So this is also in More Perfect Union. Mark Zuckerberg is building out a $10 billion Manhattan-sized data center in Richland Parish, Louisiana, in what will be Meta's largest data center in the world. We spoke with farmers and residents in town where 90% of income comes from farming about what's at stake. So let me repeat that. Mark Zuckerberg is building a $10 billion AI data center that's the size of Manhattan. Do you have any idea the emissions that are going to be dumped into the atmosphere as a result of that? And how many people will get sick? And how much that'll speed up climate change, for example? And do you also have any idea how much that's going to make your electricity bills fucking skyrocket? They're going to crash the grid. These motherfuckers, these AI tech billionaire robber barons are going to crash the grid. All because they're trying to build these fucking supercomputers. Jesus Christ. All right.
And there's no coincidence, all right, that they're building in these areas where 90% of the people, all right, you know, pretty much live off farming. And no coincidence, because these data centers destroy the environment, man. This man is just anti-life. You know, brothers can get that, or Revelation 11 and 18. Okay, St. John chapter 10, verse 10. Okay. That's all these devils are about, man, just destroying life for some goddamn data, man, and they tacky ass AI. And all this shit tacky as hell, man. You know, I'm not impressed with no goddamn AI and what this devil got going on, man. This shit tacky, man. All right, it's death. Okay, there's a way higher level, all right, to exist on than what this devil is presenting as the great glory of the earth, man. This shit tacky. Okay, and it's destructive to life, man. All right, so let's let this play some more.
So now I'll play the clip for you here. Take a look.
I'm standing at the site of Meta's new $10 billion data center in Richland Parish, Louisiana. It'll be the largest data center the company has ever built, about the size of Manhattan. The project is already bringing about big changes to this small town way of life here.
A lot of folks are on their own, and if they are on a very strict budget, they're going to have to adapt, and if they don't, they won't make it.
I don't know that gutting 2,500 acres of land just so we can mine data so that we can better market and sell people stuff, I feel like it's getting carried away.
Why are the data centers coming to the small rural towns? They're coming here to benefit themselves. They're not coming here with intentions on benefiting the community.
Our farmers around here really rely on the water system for irrigating their crops and stuff like that. They deplete the water system. You know, that's going to be a big problem.
In a sense, it feels like, well, yeah, they come take advantage of us poor, dumb, rural folks, you know.
So this data center is going to use about 3 times the energy that New Orleans uses in a year.
Bro, the data center is going to use 3 times the energy that New Orleans uses in a year? Oh my God.
I'm curious how, if electricity bills go up for people here, how that might impact them.
We're a poor area. It's a huge amount of people that have trouble paying their electric bill currently. There are people who don't own vehicles. They don't have health care. I just think about the people that I know that they won't be able to keep their lights on.
This is a large farming community here in Northeast Louisiana. We're giving our most valuable resource, which is farmland. I want to know, what is Meta doing to give back to the community.
There's a fear like, well, you know who's going to get what they need. It's going to be the people with the most money and the most power. I've worked a very short time in the oil field, South Texas, and working down there, you would be working in a boom town, but you would drive through a different old boom town that is where the oil used to be, but it isn't no more. And it was just a ghost town, because all that happens when a place like this comes in is the rich, they just get richer.
This is like a huge deal, man. So now you're going to have all of Louisiana is going to get poisoned from the pollution, the emissions that are pumped out by this giant data center. The electricity bills are going to fucking skyrocket. The grid is going to get tested to the max. I mean, this is not good. Now, by the way, here's what's already happening with U.S. electricity prices. Look at this. This is what's already happening. Yes, part of this is because of AI, but a lot of it is because of Trump's big bullshit bill and Trump cutting all the funding to the Biden laws that passed. So Biden was creating thousands of jobs in green and renewable technology fields. So we were creating green energy, wind energy, solar energy, things of that nature. And there were a lot of jobs that were being, and now Trump just cut the funding for all that. So now what happens when you reduce the amount of wind energy, you reduce the amount of solar energy, you reduce the amount of green and renewable energy that we have in this country and try to double down on fossil fuels? Well, look at what happens as a result of it. Energy prices fucking skyrocket. They skyrocket. But I'm still not done. I mean, he's doing literally everything to tank this country and make it so you can't afford to live. Great example. Remember this? We covered this a while ago. Already the electricity bills are going up. But listen to one of the other reasons why that is.
The European Union is going to agree to purchase from the United States $750 billion worth of energy.
Can I show you something? When Donald Trump says $750 billion worth of energy, what he's talking about is LNG. You see this? This, LNG exports. This, price of electricity. LNG exports, price of electricity. Donald Trump wants to triple this. When Donald Trump triples this, what do you think is going to happen to this? Do you think this is just going to stop going up? I've been telling you guys for a really long time what's coming with electricity bills, much to the dismay of a lot of people who call me a fearmonger and all kinds of stuff. When I say your electric bill will one day in the near future be more than your rent or your mortgage, I'm saying it because it's true. You are going to be subsidizing the companies that send all of our natural resources to Europe. Most of you have already seen this showing up on your electric bills. What you need to understand is it's going to get unbelievably worse. You're just seeing the beginning. Because if this wasn't bad enough, now we're going to try to do everything we can to destroy renewable energy at a time when energy demand is growing faster than it's ever grown in the United States in history. This president is completely incompetent when it comes to energy and understanding how it works and how it impacts Americans. If you think high gas prices cause inflation, what do you think is going to happen to the farmer who spends more money on electricity than you could dream of? What do you think is going to happen at Walmart, who spends about $1 billion a year on electricity just in the United States? What do you think is going to happen when that turns into $2 billion a year? This isn't just your electric bill. This is everything.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
We're cooked. This will destroy us. What we're doing here is going to fucking destroy us.
Yeah, man. So as he said, it's going to affect everything, because if the bills of these companies go up, well, they're going to have to, increase. Hold on. Yeah, so with the bills, everything goes up, especially, with these devils, putting in these data centers, which has a ripple effect, so it's going to be interesting to see the ripple effect as they put up more and more data centers, man. They can cause, residential lights to go up, corporation lights to go up, which causes what? A hike in prices. So we in some interesting times, and things can change, quickly, man. Certain aspects of life can change quickly, man. That's why it's a time to be tapped in. It's a time to live a more modest, lifestyle. Okay. Be mindful with your resources. okay, and the trust in the Lord bringing us through whatever it is, man. Okay, this is so you go into Elon Musk's X AI data center in Memphis is planned to use a peak to up to 5 million gallons, okay, of water per day for its cooling super center. Okay, the company is building an 80 million water recycling plant. So they use 5 million gallons of water a day to cool their computer. Okay, this supercomputer in Memphis. So how much is this one going to cost? Okay, which Memphis is not, a rural, city. Okay, it doesn't have, a lot of farmers in Memphis, Shelby County. Okay, that area. All right, but you go to these small rural areas that depend on their water. Okay, and this one gonna be the size of Manhattan. Okay, god damn. You see, and this is what these devils always have money to do. Okay, but anything on improving life, all right, these devils, they tapped out. So let's go here. Let's get these two. This is the brother Matthew. Ancients knew, why don't we? John 10:10 said that the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it, all right, more abundantly. Okay, so Esau Edom, his whole thing is just to kill, steal, and destroy, man. He just take, destroy. Okay, now even with the sea hill, it's just about him, destroying whatever little piece. He's just taking and stealing whatever little piece of, self-sovereignty that you have, self-autonomy that you have left. Okay, any little privacy. He only wants you to have a thought to yourself, man. Okay, and just constantly destroy, life, man. You see, but Yahushua, is coming to bring abundance to his people, man. Life back to his people, man. We're gonna live, all right, when Yahushua comes, man. That's why, hey, we just surviving, and why I say we live a minimalist society. I mean, we should live in a minimalist mindset, man. Okay, hey, they content with food and raiment. You see, because we're gonna truly live forever under Yahushua. All right, Revelation 11:18 it says, "And the nations were angry, all right, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets." Okay, and it says, they put the end on them. Yeah, no, usually block that. I'll go get it. It's lucky. Cause we'll end on that one. But y'all know they usually block that, the end of Revelation 18. When he's speaking about this nigga. Revelation 11, I mean. So let's get this Revelation 11. Revelation 11:18. It says, "And the nation were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged." Okay, and that thou shouldst give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldst destroy them which destroy the earth, man, which is Esau. And on the part of the reward, for the servants, the prophets, the saints, and them that fear, thy name, small and great, which that's the 1/3. Okay, beginning with the prophets, the first fruits. Okay, and the rest of the 1/3 men, women, and children in their order. All right, and the beginning of their reward is the earth, man. Us being changed, those new bodies. And Yahushua, he's gonna, give us the earth. Okay, when we come out those chariots, man. Well, see, now we're in the time, all right, where these nations are finna be judged for following, this nigga that destroyed the earth, man. Okay? So this is where we at, man. So it's just a constant build up, to more prophecy. We're going to continue to, watch these things, as they unfold, real time, So, Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters, that once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to our younger brothers, and peace and blessing, salutation, and hopefully, Shalom.